The British Council in Tanzania aims to enhance learning opportunities and build access and understanding between Africa, the United Kingdom, and the global community. In Tanzania, the British Council, in collaboration with Ministry of Education and Vocational Training, has been supporting the improvement of English language in primary and secondary education.
English is really important for the British Council. It's one of our core activities that we do all over the world. But the importance for Tanzania of English is it's a key part of the country's development. As part of East Africa community and as a wider community of Africa, English is important for people wanting to study and access opportunities for further study, either abroad or even in their own countries. It's very important for trade because English is the language of business, the international language of business. There's a lot of trade in Tanzania with foreign partners like the UK, China, EU, etc. And most of those transactions will be done in English language. And finally, it's very important for people's personal opportunities and growth. In order to get a job, in order to get a better job, it's very good to know English. So we're very happy to be here and provide that service and provide opportunities for people to improve their English language.
In November 2012, the British Council, in collaboration with Ministry of Education, established the Education Quality Improvement Project Tanzania English Language Training ELT.
The project works in 34 teacher training colleges across Tanzania. We're training currently 1,600 tutors. Those are the tutors who go on to train student teachers, and we'll be reaching 70,000 student teachers. We've recruited and employed 34 teacher trainers from the UK and other countries, and they're placed full-time in those training colleges.
The ELT project is being supervised by the team of experts from the British Council, VSO, Ministry of Education and Vocational Training, Tanzania Institute of Education, National Examination Council of Tanzania, and it is funded by DfID.
We know education is a very long process. It takes time to improve the system. It takes time for a child who starts when they're 5 to get through to 15 and for those benefits to be seen. So we see this as part of a very long process, and we're quite modest in the achievements that we expect. But I am personally very impressed by how both two arms of the programme are getting going. What we're really looking forward to seeing with the English language component is the piloting and the scale up of the baseline training in schools. That will be the challenge. How does it interact with schools? Is it improving children's learning? Are the children at the end of their baseline better able to really work and communicate in the new language?
On October 24, 2013, the British Council held a very high-level policy dialogue, which was actioned by the Ministry of Education and Vocational Training, where stakeholders met and exchanged views on the impact of English language improving education quality in Tanzania.
I'm aware that the main activity of this workshop is to bring academics together to exchange views on the impact of English language in improving education quality in Tanzania. Much has been told on the importance of language in the delivery of education and on to enhancing learning. Language is in many times been considered to be an important carrier in the transmission of knowledge. And as such, we are very glad to gather here to find ways and means of improving the learning, the teaching and learning of English.
The country director of the British Council, Richard Sunderland, said ELT project has an impressive progress so far.
I was lucky enough to go to Sumbawanga a few weeks ago to see one of the trainers and meet some of the teachers. It was fantastic. It was really nice to see the real life impact that the project is making. And obviously we're working very closely alongside DfID, who are providing a lot of the funding and making sure the project is moving in the way that DfID want, and also the Ministry and our other local partners.
Case number 1 was presented by Tanzania Institute of Education, and it was titled, "Does the competence-based curriculum prepare students to communicate in English?"
Syllabus is just a document. Now, being a document with full of knowledge, planned knowledge, that needs to be translated in classroom situation. Now, who will translate it? Obviously, it's a teacher, a subject teacher. Now, the current situation of teaching English language in Tanzania actually faces several challenges as follow. The first one is, it is observable as it's in a nature of problem-solving oriented. Then it does not cultivate high-order thinking skills and learning English as a foreign stroke second or third language using communicative approach. Then grammar language teaching approach basing on language rules and principles is the one which normally most of the teachers in classroom situation use.
Some of the participants contributed to this presentation, stressing on what they think should be done to improve the competence of teaching curriculum.
In the context of competence-based curriculum, we are saying much of the hidden agenda is within the pedagogical implications. That if the teacher has a lot of techniques to follow what is advocated, it is not much change. But if the teacher's methodological ability is low, it is very much difficult to cope with this kind of ideology in terms of curriculum implementation.
What I suggest is a close coordination of these trainings.
Do we actually know what's happening in the classroom? Because that stands the way the theme of the paper. That is, had the paper been written after a research or a follow-up or monitoring, we would be sharing practical information in this room. My suggestion is that let's keep tracking, let's keep monitoring of what we decide to implement in our schools in particular subjects like promoting English.
Particularly given the background that our learners have, do they know where they're going to use the English after they have completed their cycle? Because that could be a motivator or a demotivator, whether they learn it or they don't. And then it comes, another issue is the question of training of the teachers. How is it done? Do we equip them with the competence list that we have there? If it is not right, then are we doing the right thing? Because communicative does not necessarily mean competence. You can have your communicative language, but if it is not functional, then you can just pass your examinations. So we have to look critically into what do we mean by competence-based English language teaching.
National Examination Council of Tanzania, NECTA, presented case number 2, which was, what can we learn from performance trends in Standard 7, Form 4, and TTC Final English Exam results?
Basically, there are 3 stages. Because we are the national examinations, certainly it depends on our other stakeholders, and particularly the teachers. We do select a team of teachers. They are sent letters asking them to set examination items or questions, if you like. Now, of course, the selection is confidential and their identity remains confidential. Now, when the set items are then brought to Nectar for moderation, and another team of experts is selected to come and do the moderation of items. Now, during the moderation, perhaps important tools which are used are the product of TIE, the syllabus for each level. Now, during moderation, teachers will sit and see are the questions which are submitted are properly representative of the entire syllabus. If the answer is no, they will have to look from different setters so that at least they come up with a set of items which are representative of the entire syllabus, so that we are not biased to a particular chunk in the syllabus. They also look at the accuracy of the items themselves. At least if it's a language examination, it should be accurate to the level it's supposed to be. And check also the level of difficulty. In this case, the syllabus is an important element.
The participants gave their views on what more should be done to improve performances.
What is being tested in exams in English language examinations? Is there a balance between cognitive academic language proficiency and the basic interpersonal communicative skills? I know during our times we were also testing communication in the language. But nowadays, I think for many years now, nothing is being done as far as testing the communicative skills. That some of those who pass English language at Standard 7 or Form 4 cannot communicate in English. But I think that we have really to balance our examinations setting and the type of examinations to test both cognitive and communicative skills.
Case number 3, how well prepared are teachers for meeting curriculum demands and what professional development support do they receive, was presented by Ministry of Education and Vocational Training.
We have also introduced an examination to allow student teachers enter a second year of teacher education. So when they finish first year, we give them an exam to tell them on whether they are eligible for a second year or not. And this was introduced this year. So from this year, they are going to undertake this examination because we have seen this, as we discussed earlier, there is a high failure rate coming from last few years. We want to control that by making a very close follow-up and ensuring that every learner in teacher education is successful.
Contributing to this, the participants stated that it's very crucial that the student teachers get prepared professionally to meet the curriculum demands.
Now, we ask ourselves, if the teachers themselves have failed to get the marks or to get the what they are supposed to achieve in their exams, now how are they going to make the performance for their students to be good? And what are the reasons do they think, as teachers who are teaching these tutors who are teaching these teachers, what do they think is the reason behind for this massive failure in the colleges?
The big problem is there is no proper sequence of the medium of instruction from primary to secondary schools. In primary schools, we use Kiswahili as a medium of instruction, but when students get to secondary schools, they are taught in English. Most can't handle the situation. It disheartens them. They enter in classrooms but cannot understand anything. Currently, the teachers who teach English subjects were not trained for that subject. They are not well prepared. As a result, teaching becomes difficult and the students don't understand English language. This is also what causes failure in exams.
I was very interested to hear that you have this collaboration with OUT. that suggests to me that there is a lot of potential in the system for using IT, both for training but also for more online work. I think strengthening the links between the colleges is something that you've mentioned and is critical to the success of teacher education.
How effective is the Form 1 English baseline course in bridging the gap between primary and secondary education, and the translation from Kiswahili to English medium education was case number 4, presented by ELT consultant from the British Council, Wendy Arnold.
If you have teachers at secondary with low English language levels as well, and the methodology, the lack of methodology to deliver their content, then I think that they're going to have a problem with the baseline course as well, because the baseline course is self-access. It's independent. Teachers at secondary school are supposed to pick this up and look at it, understand it, and deliver the 6-week course on their own. Okay? Now, even a very good teacher, I think, would need to be instructed on how to deliver the materials in the way that the authors have written, because the methodology is embedded, but you need training on the methodology, especially if you know, I'm talking at an educator's point of view here, if you know that the methodology, the current methodology is teacher-centered. Okay, to make that leap from teacher-centered to learner-centered is a big jump, and the methodology in here is very much embedded as learner-centered. But you need to be shown what that means and how to do it. You can't just pick this up and do it and bingo, that's it. You've done your job.
The education advisor from DfID, Mr. Ian Atfield, contributed to the presentation.
I was quite curious about some of your comments to the syllabus. You referred to the syllabus a lot. I was curious about the extent to which they align to the curriculum, or whether you saw the syllabus and curriculum as interchangeable, because Tanzania has talked about its transition to its competency-based curriculum, and I do wonder whether that's been thought through and has evolved into better, more appropriate books. Your comments on the publishers and this process by which books and materials are approved and how to improve the marketplace for them, I think is well made. Finally, on the baseline course, I mean, I do hope that many of your recommendations can be taken on board, and that a very sort of credible, large-scale pilot that perhaps learns by doing in 2014 is possible. Obviously, for a course that's aimed for the start of the academic year, and the next academic year will start in the middle of January, there's not long till that point.
Thank you very much for the good discussion. It's not to say that, as I said again, these comments are actually very useful, and I'm sure that a group that has presented has been able to take...
Concluding the dialogue, the stakeholders and participants agreed on measures to be taken in order to urgently improve the teaching and learning conditions in our schools. The agreed points were: teaching of English as a subject should be enhanced by motivating students to participate actively in learning through debating, essay competitions, and reading clubs. Strengthen the teaching and learning English language at primary schools to prepare students to use it at secondary school level as a medium of instruction. Introduce the use of English language as a medium of instruction early at primary schools. Update teachers with new teaching strategies such as student-centered teaching methods and implementation of competence-based teaching through professional development workshops and seminars. Having participated fully in the policy dialogue, some contributors gave their views on how they see the progress of EQUIP-T ELT so far.
The main agenda that was being discussed is the competence of teachers in teaching of English language. It has been realized that we don't have enough competent teachers for English language, especially in primary schools. Primary school students who later become primary school teachers study many subjects, and the statistics have shown that they pass well in all other subjects but fail in English language. Discussing this has been a success to us, Ministry of Education. Now, when we take a look at National Examination Council, they have challenged us. And they also have been challenged to take a closer look on the kind of questions they set for exams if they are suitable for the candidates. So, we have learned more, and the dialogue we have had will help them analyze the kind of questions they set for our children. As for the student teachers, it seems the training is done in a very good way. The participants have contributed that the range of performance is good because we don't have many teachers with A's or many teachers who have failed completely. The performance is ranging at average, which is a good thing. But we got even a greater point as the ELT consultant Wendy Arnold was presenting the baseline course for primary students who are getting ready for the secondary education. She has given a very good presentation that will make us reflect the syllabus of English language subject in primary education. In her presentation, she elaborated that the teachers are trained at a lower level, but the baseline has greater demands. That has challenged us, and it will guide us as we go through the syllabus.
In the implementation process of EQUIP-T ELT projects, there have been challenges.
I think the main challenge at the beginning was the perceptions of the project because, as you know, teachers speaking in Swahili, but the language of instruction, the medium of instruction is English from secondary onwards. So a lot of the teachers and teacher training colleges maybe didn't understand why we're coming to improve English. They thought that perhaps it should be just something focused on English as a subject. But we've overcome those now, and working alongside the ministry, the colleges are fully on board, and we're finding that the tutors of other subjects actually see the value and importance of improving English right across the curriculum. So it's not something that's just about English language as a subject, but it's about teaching other subjects through the medium of English, and they've really come on board with that now. The ministry is fully behind us with that, and we've even involved school inspectors now. So school inspectors again for all subjects, not just for English, and that's really helped us to really push the project forward.
On top of the EQUIP-T ELT, the British Council also gives training of English language to various Tanzanians as per their needs. The classes that provide these trainings are fully equipped, and the tutors are professionals from Britain.